Well, how do you do? She's a cold one out here today. So before it snows, I'm out here in the shed. Wanted to do just a simple little update on some tools and an update on the shed extension, kind of. I was going to do an extension of this shed. I was talking about it, I guess, in the last update. Can't quite remember. About bumping this wall out and adding another 8 feet. And come to find out, doing some calling and researching, anything beyond 120 feet, according to the city, you need a building permit, and which costs money, and that is to be determined by the city on how much that building permit costs. So I didn't really want to go that route, because it's going to be above, or I'm sorry, more than 120 square feet. And I don't want them telling me where, how much, and just, I didn't want their opinion, basically. So I was like, well, building a bigger shed was going to be a bit of a pain, and really the purpose of building it out was for storage, right? Not for like a bigger shop or anything other than just to store the snowblower and the lawnmower and maybe some totes of whatever we needed. So anyways, I thought about it and I was like, to heck with that. And, I'm not going to do that. So the wife came up with an idea, and yes, she has them from time to time. She was like, why don't you just build a separate shed that is just big enough and just under the 120 feet, so you don't have to do the building permit. And I was like, aha. I was like, good idea. And I'm also going to do it as cheap as I possibly can. So I have a friend at church that works for a car business, and he has access to free pallets. And I've watched these videos of people making sheds out of pallets, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I just didn't have the tools, so I started looking locally for tools, about a month ago, and I got my hands a few weeks ago on an air compressor, because I know I needed a good firm foundation for some air tools to start working on this shed. And sure enough, I got an air compressor. Now this air compressor is probably about as old as old Mac. And he's a good friend of mine on here. So old Mac, if you're listening, this thing's probably about as old as you are. I can't find a name of a company on this at all. There is a name that says Tank Mobile on it that looks like it was spray painted on the front and the back, but I don't know if that's like, I have no idea. But anyways, I'll show it to you. There it is. This thing is older than the hills, man. But I tell you what, she runs, and she runs quietly. It's the original everything, including the air hose. The plug-in, if I can reach it, needs to be repaired. Original, definitely needs, again, a new cord. You plug it in, it turns on. You unplug it, it turns off. There's no auto, it gets up to a certain PSI and shuts off and blah blah. But nope, it's on. And I got that locally. Some guy was getting rid of it. Got it for $50. I was like, not bad. I'm not looking for the latest and greatest and the newest and all that other crap. Matter of fact, I actually prefer older equipment. Kind of like my bike, which I happen to be standing next to. There's just something about it. I don't know. Everything still has a use to it. And that's always been my mindset after the military, medically discharged me. And I felt really disheartened by that. It's like I fought to stay in the last bit of my term because they really wanted to just kind of like get rid of me on a medical sooner than that. And I was like, nah, I didn't feel comfortable with that. So, like I still had a use. So I portray that on everything else, and being very mechanically inclined and with an engineering mind-set anyways. I look at, things like the motorcycle, things like, that air compressor. It's like, people look at it like junk, and I'm like, nah, that's got potential. That still has use left into it. So anyways, off my soapbox, I suppose. Fast forward past that was only 50. And again, I'm only working with limited resources, guys. Dude on a pension, man. Limited funds. Fast forward to yesterday. I was looking for a nail gun, framing nail gun. And, hang on a sec. Okay. That was actually a few seconds. Freaking hands are getting cold. Anyways, so back to so yesterday, I was looking for a framing nail gun. Found one locally on Facebook Marketplace, right? I hate Facebook, but Facebook Marketplace I'll haunt every now and then if I'm looking for maybe like a motorcycle pad or whatever, which is really not a lot of people gonna have motorcycle pads around where I live. But as in terms of like tools and whatnot, sometimes it's pretty handy. Found somebody that was selling a frame and nail gun, and I offered them $60 for it, and they were like, yeah. And I was like shocked. I was like, holy cow. They weren't selling it for 60, but I asked them for 60, only because that's honestly all I had. I don't know how long it was on the listing, but I was like, sure. But the people came back and they sounded really nice, and we met up, and I was talking to them, and come to find out it was a local business. They were cutting through their inventory, and they were finding multiples of all sorts of stuff, and they were just kind of renewing, and we need to get rid of some of the older stock or whatever, and the stuff worked. It's just they were just trying to trim in the fat, so to speak. And I picked up a frame and nail gun for $60, and they threw in a box of nails for free. And I was happier than a pig in mud, man. And sure enough, here it is. Yep, Boss Stitch. I ain't gonna say it's mint. Obviously, it's been used. But she sure is mint to me. There's the box of nails. So, yeah, that saved me a ton of money. So $50 for the air compressor, $60 for the frame and nail gun, and a free box of nails with it. Like, yeah, talk about blessed. So Yeah. Oh, and I should just walk you right out there. Matter of fact, that's what I'll do. I'll walk you right over there. I'm already freezing my little cojones off anyways. Then I'll take you over to where the new shed is. Or the new shed will be, anyways. All right. Pallet wood. That's the first load that came over. That's the wood that's going to be used. There's the frame set for the new shed. And it's really not all that far away from the old shed. So on one corner of the property is the storage, and that's where the shop of the motorcycle is going to be. Not bad. So between that going up, there's going to be more loads of pallets coming my way, which is really cool. So free wood, plus some inexpensive equipment and tools. Not to mention, this shed is going to be seeing upgrades, insulation, more windows. So this summer is going to be really good. So this is going to be prepped and ready for the winter. That new shed is not going to be insulated. That's just going to be a basic shed that's just going to house stuff. That's just storage. This, on the other hand, is going to be heated with power and insulated. And speaking of which, I'm going to get off this and go into a very heated house because my fingers are falling off right now. It's so cold. So, without further ado, peace.